Gentlemen, my name is Jim James from Minnesota, actually Minneapolis. And clearly you've inspired 38,000 people here today. Books have been written about you, not solely for your financial prowess, but because of the people you are. Could you share 2 or 3 influences on you, those kinds of people, educators, who have shaped your thinking on life and on investing? Thank you.
Well, I think the biggest educator, certainly in my case, initially was my father. I think probably Charlie would say the same thing. I think it's very, very, very important who you marry, and I've been lucky there. And those are great teachers. And of course, I had Ben Graham, I had Dave Dodd. I've learned from all kinds of people who've written books over the years. I've just devoured those and you're picking up things here and there. Charlie learned a lot from Ben Franklin, obviously. Many people think Ben Franklin learned a lot from Charlie, but we both learned a few things from my grandfather at the grocery store. But your I tell the students, the most important job you have, as a teacher, is being the teacher to your children. I mean, you're the ultimate teacher. You're this great big thing. You provide warmth and food and everything else, and they're learning about the world. And they're not going to change a lot of that when they get into graduate school or sometime. So and you don't get any rewind button. You don't get to do it twice. So you have to do your best as a teacher, and you teach by what you do, not by what you say. With these young things, and by the time they've got the place where they're entering a formal school, they probably learn more from you than they're ever going to learn from anybody else. Charlie?
Well, I would argue that differing people learn in differing ways. With me, I was put together by nature to learn from reading. If some guy's talking to me, he's telling me something I don't know, I don't want to know, I already know, or he's doing it too slow or too fast. In reading, I can learn what I want at the speed that works. So to me, reading is what works for my nature. And to all of you who are all like me, I say, welcome. It's a nice fraternity.
You probably learn more from your father than you learn from all the reading you did, don't you think? In terms of actually forming you?
Well, yes. And my father was the type that always did more than his share of the work and took more than his share of the risk. And all that kind of example was, of course, very helpful, and you learn it better from a person close to you. But in terms of the conceptual stuff, I'd say I learned it from books. Now, those are fathers in a different sense, the people who wrote the books.
Yeah, well, one book obviously changed my whole financial life when by happenstance, probably, I picked it up. I can't even remember why I bought it back when I was in school. But if you just keep picking up enough books, you'll find something. You'll learn a lot. And I used to go through the Omaha Public Library and just go down the shelves. But it's kind of an inefficient way maybe of doing it. But if you read 20 books on a subject you've got an interest in, you're going to learn one hell of a lot. You don't know which one you're going to learn it in, though. So I would take having, if you get the right parents, you're very lucky. You're very, very lucky. And it's better than going to the right school or anything of the sort. And if you get the right spouse, you've just doubled down. Number 10.